Hi there, welcome back to the channel. This video is all about the 3 big mistakes that founders and entrepreneurs make when prototyping their products. Now, prototypes can be hugely expensive. I don't want you to fall into the same trap, so do make sure you keep watching until the end of the video, where I'm going to share how you can avoid these problems and how you can make sure that the money spent prototyping your product is spent really efficiently and effectively. Let's dive straight into it. So the biggest mistake that people make is prototyping too soon. And I get it, right? I have new ideas, I'm an innovator too, and I'm desperate to see that first proper tangible prototype of my idea that I can try out and see whether it's going to work and get some feedback, or maybe talk to investors about it and get some money and all that type of thing. And it can be really appealing to get to a prototype stage as quickly as possible. But the problem is prototyping costs money, it takes time, and it can be entirely wasted if actually you haven't validated the idea first. Do check out the link in the description below, where I've got a free PDF that goes through a 10-step validation process. But trust me, if you go ahead and prototype without validating your idea, then you could just be wasting thousands of pounds. And the big mistake that a lot of people make with prototyping is that they don't have a clear objective for the prototype. If you're talking to a product design agency and you're talking about a prototype and they say, oh, that's fine, we can make you a prototype and it's going to cost you X thousand pounds. The problem is they're probably overcharging you. You probably don't need that level of prototype. You might even not need all the aesthetic detail they might add in. You need to be really clear about what that prototype's for. If you haven't tested out your key unique functionality, then you want the minimum viable prototype to be able to test that. It doesn't need to look great. It doesn't even need to necessarily be the right size. There are all sorts of ways that you can reduce the cost but still hit that key objective of proving the functionality. What you don't want to do is spend lots and lots of money on a beautiful prototype that's all finished and spray painted and exactly looks like the final product, only to then test out your core unique functionality with it and find that it doesn't work or it needs some tweaks. Because at that point, you're going to have to pay again entirely for that really expensive prototype. It's better to test all the core functionality and everything you can on cheap, low fidelity, low quality prototypes, and then move into those final prototypes that look like the final product and are all finished in a high fidelity, but only when you've proven your basic concepts. We've got one more big mistake that people make with prototyping. Before we get into that, please do hit like and subscribe. It makes a massive difference to the channel. The other huge mistake that we see people make, and often people come to my design firm, D2M Innovation, to pick up the pieces, is when they've prototyped something and then they've gone to a manufacturer and found that it's not manufacturable. And there's no point prototyping something that is actually physically impossible to ever manufacture. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to do all your value engineering and get your product absolutely final and ready to go into tooling and manufacture before prototyping, but it does mean that you need to prototype something that isn't just a concept that can't ever be made. And you need really to have a senior and experienced designer working on the project so that they are prototyping something that fundamentally is designed with production methods and cost-effective assembly in mind from the outset. As I say, you'll still need to go through a value engineering and design for production phase, but that then should be much quicker and much easier because fundamentally the product can be manufactured in volume in an effective fashion. So those are the 3 big common mistakes that people make with prototyping. If you need a great product design company to help you prototype your idea, then do book a call with one of my experienced designers. There's a link in the description below. And do check out this next video that talks all about manufacturing an idea, because that's the next step and it's best to have the end in mind.